Hello, everybody, and welcome to the next match in the 2025 Pod Racing Tournament. I am Domare. Today, I will be joined by Digital Unity on commentary. He is running a couple minutes late, so we are going to just get the ball rolling up until he gets here. We got a countdown happening, so we're going to be good to go here momentarily. We're going to be starting today on the Spice Mine run. Quite an exciting pick, if you ask me. So world record on this track is a 338.196. Mike has a 339.420, and I honestly have absolutely no idea what Belle is capable of here. So this could be quite interesting. Hope you're all excited for another exciting match here. I certainly am. It's always an absolute pleasure to do commentary on these. And while we're waiting on the countdown to officially be given out and for both of their players to start racing, I just want to give a quick shout out to a couple people. Looks like we are starting actually, which is all of our tournament staffers and especially Lightning Pirate for getting everything set up this year. Is incredible mall inspired background, in addition to having the entire back end stuff in Votto just be completely remade. It's all thanks to him that we have such a smooth tournament this year. And every match that I've seen so far has been smooth, and hopefully we'll keep it that way. All right, moving right into the race. Both players have had a clean enough opening. They just got off of what's known as fast terrain. Belle using a questionable boost strategy there, kind of breaking that up. Not typically what you want to see. So Mike is going to have a bit of a strategical advantage going into this mining section. See, Belle's got a lot of boost to try to get out here, and Mike's just riding on high heat, completely relaxed going into this mining section. I'm imagining that he's probably going to aim for somewhere in the 241 to 242 range, just because he's always aware of being super consistent and safe. And if there's one thing that Mike is, it is consistent. He is a pillar of consistency, both in terms of his activity in the community, having been in the community and a part of the speedrunning scene since 2009. But he also is consistent in his racing, almost never taking any deaths. So Belle is going to have to hope for some mistakes from Mike today, as Mike is the favored player. Both still keeping it clean enough. Belle definitely having lost quite a bit of time already, as you can see here. We're going to have Mike exiting the fast train at 1:45, and Belle coming across almost at 1:48. So about 2.5 seconds separate the players already. And we are only about halfway through the race. So Mike is always putting up incredible paces. He is dropping some frames on his stream, unfortunately, but we are still seeing more than enough to know that the race will be legit. Coming up to this ending, we're going to have to see clean market area. We didn't get the chance to talk about this on lap 1, but this section is very, very tumultuous. Easy to die on the corners. Both making it through just fine once again. Mike coming across with 1:13:48 and Belle with 1:15:08. So that's a second and a half that Mike has gained on that lap 2. And we can really see Mike squeezing around the edge of the dozer. Belle also squeezing around the edge of the dozer. I don't think either quite waited as long as they could have on that opening sequence. I'm not even sure. I didn't pay attention to if they waited at all, but regardless, Belle's definitely going to need a death from Mike at this point. I really don't think anything else could make up this gap. Even a big bonk, Mike would probably be able to accelerate too quickly and maintain his lead. Ending section is about a 320.3, and Belle is going to be coming across there at basically 6 seconds behind Mike. So yeah, even with a death, Mike could still win this. Ending section's nice and clean for Mike. Going up to the end, 340.5. Very strong showing as always for Mike. Getting us started off on the right foot. Belle coming across with a 347.803, meaning that Mike has taken the first race of this match. Just waiting on him to submit his time. That means we will be going on to the first of Belle's picks, which is going to be Howler Gorge today. We do have to wait on Mike to get this entered in, but once we do, we'll be good to go. Can I submit on his behalf? Nope. I cannot. Goof, I've been revealing race picks as they come up. Obviously, I do have all of them in front of me, but I haven't been telling people. All right, there we go. We got his submitted. Good deal. So we're gonna get a warm-up phase. I believe it's 2.5 minutes for Hollow Gorge, and I do think that Mike just selected his parts before submitting his time, just because he is known for having a little bit of difficulty with getting his setup all ready to go. So I don't exactly fault him for that, and it's not going to hold us up too much since we don't have to wait for track picks anymore, anyways. Belle sub 350 on Spice My Run was very nice indeed. It's some development from prior years, as far as I understand. I think I had seen on somewhere that Belle had a 350 dot something on Spice Mine, so I didn't count it as like a known best time just because Belle doesn't submit any ILs. Yeah, the 318 was it? I didn't see the exact decimals. Obviously, I'll have it in the VOD, but is Mike just electing to not warm up at all? That's a power move if I've ever seen it. He's just there, sitting there menacing, waiting for the countdown. Oh goodness. Oh, 8x, yeah. I mean, that is still better, but I gotta make Mike do a Hollow Gorge run. See if I can brighten him into doing it. All right, we got about another half a minute of warm-ups before the countdown begins. So, oh, Mike's decided he actually does want to warm up. With his classic Scion background, I'm hoping that he does not miss the countdown because of this warm-up, but I guess we will find out the hard way. Speaking of, we have a countdown incoming. So, in about 40 seconds, we should see the official race begin here. While we're waiting for it to begin, we'll just take a look at Mike's screen here. So Howler Gorge is the second of the Andoprime tracks. It is known for quite a many things, but that big jump as well as this downhill are kind of the things that stand out the most to a casual perspective. However, they are quite simple. Coming up to the end of lap 1, we would be transitioning into the tent. It's a very necessary shortcut on this track. saves roughly 7 seconds over not taking the tent. So, all right, and it looks like we do have Digital Unity joining us in commentary. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for having me today. Sorry I'm late. I had to get gas in my car. Then there was a train at the train crossing for the first time in my entire life.
Classic. All right, I do believe that was the restart race from Belle, so we're gonna have to wait and see what Mike does. Okay, restart. Perfect. We'll just have a little
Oh,
bit of a
I
sync
missed one
here.
already?
You did miss the first race, yes.
Oh no, what was it?
Well, for round 1 of Swiss, it is always going to be Spice Mine Run. We had a moment of sync there. We had Mike get a 340.5 and Belle get a 347.7. So that first race did go to Mike. This is the first of Belle's picks, will be pre-selected before the match picks on Howler Gorge.
Okay.
All right, Mike making it through the bridge. Belle did have a little bit of a mishap there, so you're going to see Mike go right past where Belle is, a few seconds ahead already.
Mike and Belle are on not fully opposite ends of the spectrum here, but Mike probably has at least 3 world records just that he hasn't told anyone about.
Mike is always the ever-present, incredibly skilled player that decides when he wants to grace us with his times and when he doesn't. But Belle is, yeah, I mean, Mike is almost always going to have an experience and time advantage over basically every player in the game except for 2 or 3. So
The wrong
when you have
speed
something
channel.
like that, you're going to have a big gap in what people are capable of. All right, 116.4 for Belle. I didn't catch exactly what Mike's times was, but I imagine it was about like a 109.
We're on regular
so we're looking
speed gaming, right?
SpeedGaming 2.
Oh, we're on SpeedGaming 2.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, Botto really screwed that up.
I can't help you there. Oh, big red repair for Belle here. Definitely losing on a lot of time already. I mean, it's Belle with the frustrated look backs. I mean, we're looking at like a 12-second lead for Mike already. And that's another red engine from landing. After this, I might want to tell Belle that you want to land without still having the boost on to reduce damage that you take. Mike, 10 entrants, lap 3, minute 4.
I think commentating with Dom is probably the only instance where commentators will not incorrectly explain a concept. Mark your calendars, everybody. For the first time, we'll actually get things right today.
Oh my gosh, we see a mistake from Mike!
That hardly ever happens.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of marking your calendars, Mike died!
Oh my gosh.
It's a momentous
It's a historic day all around. What does the Swiss play to? 3?
This is a best of 7, so it's first to 4.
Best of 7. So we play first to 4. Got it.
Yep.
Mike I was on the committee that made the rules, and I can't remember them right now.
I mean, to be fair, you don't have to think about them as often, so that's understandable.
Yeah, I'm actually not participating in tournament this year. I'm not running.
Yeah, you pre-thought about it, but now you don't have to. All right,
yeah,
Mike
coming
across the line with a 325, having lost somewhere in the order of 4 to 5 seconds there, so would have been roughly a 320. And Belle coming across with a 338. So that's going to be a second
let's hope that's not a bad omen.
Here. Goof, Mike died to the ceiling after the bridge. It launched him to the right, and he hit the wall.
Classic Endo Prime, reaping souls. Oh, yep. There's another one to mark your calendar or mark your bingo cards over. We've seen a desktop.
All right, so We do need to have Mike enter in his time, so I'm just gonna once again ping him for that. What was it, like a 325, like 017 or something like that?
Dom, I assume you've already explained the rules of a Swiss this year, yes?
Not like long-term rules, no. If you want to do that, you're more than welcome to.
Sure, the guy who doesn't know anything about what a Swiss is, talk about what a Swiss is. Basically,
Well, it's a type of cheese,
it's...
as it turns out.
Yeah, it is a type of cheese. It's got little holes in it. That comes from the process by which it's made. You know, there's air that gets trapped and it bubbles out. But in addition, it's a modified round robin of sorts. Which means basically everybody plays against everybody else with the same general set of rules, right? Am I getting that right?
Yeah, you're on par. So we have a set of rules that apply for the Swiss matches, which is the best of 7. It's, you get 2 force points per match that you can use when you're selecting the tracks for, like, you select ahead of the match, right? The Swiss is going to be 4 rounds. It is a seeded Swiss bracket, so it's a bit accelerated. It doesn't mean you have to play against every other player in order to
Okay.
get accuracy. You just are going to have the 4 rounds. And you also have a little bit of a fun part about Swiss is that you always are going to end up playing against somebody who has the same number of match wins as you. So we will end
It's
up
good.
with a single person who is 4-0 and a single person who is 0-4, and then a mixture of people who are 3-1, 2-2, and 1-3, which will then seed into the 8-person single elimination bracket.
That sounds like everything we discussed in the tourney org board.
So we are going to be doing Gauntlet full track. We have not actually seen the start of the race yet, but it is always an interesting pick. Longest track in the game by distance, as Draco would always remind us, not by time though. That
we
honor
love Gauntlet
still
full
belongs
track.
to FMR. Gauntlet full track is possibly one of the least contentious in the game in terms of general opinion. I think most people would agree it's pretty just okay.
It's mildly adequate.
Personally, it's probably one of my least favorites just because there's so many good tracks in the game, but that's not to say that Gauntlet's necessarily a bad track. It's just not as interesting.
Oh.
All right, we are going to have a countdown coming in soon. I still have maintained the incredibly long sync from last time because of how long it took Mike to start, and I didn't want to sit here waiting for Belle to need to buffer for 20 seconds again. So hopefully it just works out every time, but we might have to do some adjustments. Sleepy time track. That's... yeah, I understand where that comes from. Okay.
Yeah. Ace would probably call Gauntlet a resident sleeper.
In a lot of ways, it is. But like I said, it's just very meh. Very meh. But not particularly egregious either.
Second to last track in the game, and it's mid.
If that's Mike restarting his race, then he may not have actually waited as long. So we might get an opposingly long sync. Dang it. Why do you do this to me, Mike? What did I do to you to deserve this?
Well, for one, you beat him in tournament.
No! Well, this is great.
For one, you beat Mike in tournament last year. So that's that might have something to do with it.
That's just what had to happen. I can't help
Going for a
Alright.
long endurance track against Mike is... ... I don't think
It's
it's
a
the
pick.
player's choice.
What do you mean?
Is it... Did they pick this?
They pick ahead of time. So Belle picked
Oh.
this track ahead of time, yeah.
I thought the Swiss only gave... I thought we had like a list of allowed tracks to use on the Swiss.
No, no.
No?
So the way that the picks work is the first track is predetermined by the tournament selection committee, which includes Game Draco, Andy Panther, and Hayudoro.
Okay.
They select the track that has to be played for the first track for every round of Swiss, this time being Spice.
Okay.
Following that, each player selects 4 picks, and then from there, they each get to ban one of the other players' picks. So then it just plays out in order of their picks that they did that didn't get banned. So Belle selected Gauntlet as their second of the picks, and so that's where we're at now. Assuming that Mike wins this, then we would go to Belle's third pick, and we wouldn't see any of Mike's picks. But they are allowed to pick any normal type of forces as well as any track. All right,
Evidently,
Mike,
the
coming
rule
across-
set that I thought we had is not what we've actually gone with. I thought we had like a whitelist.
Well, that's interesting that you guys even talked about a waitlist. All right,
Yeah,
so Mike got
we
a
talked about
141.5, and Belle's going to get a 156, so we are already looking at a 15-second advantage for Mike.
I remember talking about a list of tracks that were allowed to be selected from for each leg of the tourney that would get progressively wider as things went on, and we would have a similar selection for pods to try and get more variety of vehicles into the play. So evidently they must have had another meeting without me.
I could not tell you in that regard, but it's still interesting to hear a little bit of that. Okay, so we are looking at quite a discrepancy in time here. Mike is on pace to get roughly in the 5-minute to 5:01 range. I don't know if he has a sub 5 time or not without skips, given that his profile showed skips, and the best time I have for him is a 5-minute.3. But you know how Mike is, he probably has sub 5. As for Belle, I have absolutely no idea what they're capable of here, but if this race has been anything to go by, it's probably like a 5-minute and 30-second time at like in an IL situation based off of what's been happening. So that's
especially with this
quite
boost
a big
pattern.
difference. Mike with
Not
a
really.
139.77.
Belle's not really taking advantage of the ability of Ben to actually cool his engines here.
Oh, taking a death in the tube.
We love Gauntlet Tube here.
You know, it's mostly fine until you get to high FPS, and then it's particularly annoying. But it does take a lot of people out.
What FPS is Mike supposed to be on?
Well, I believe he's playing at 30, based off the top right corner. 30 is a perfectly fine FPS for Gauntlet.
Well, right now it's, teacher advance the slide, please.
I do believe his stream is struggling. It has been the whole time.
Getting a little bit of a PowerPoint presentation over here.
Well, at least there's enough frames
Belle's
of
on
the
fire.
PowerPoint presentation to know that he's, doing the race. We would be able to tell something tragic happened, but not much more. He's lag switching. I agree. Goofy's lag switching.
Mike, you can't jiggle the 56K modem, all right? You gotta leave it alone.
All right, Mike coming across the line with a 5-minute flat and 25.8.
5.58.
5.85. Belle coming to the end here. Looks like they definitely cleaned things up.
Nope, not clean in the
For
tube even
laps,
one time.
not in the tube. Just the track time got a bit better after lap 1, so it wasn't quite as bad of a difference as I would have thought. So we do see a
5:33.
5:24 from Belle.
Oh,
So that
Dom,
is
you're really good at calling these times. Like, you said that Mike probably had a sub 5, and he comes out with a 5 dead, and then you thought Bell had a 5:33, and here's Bell with a 5:30, and here's Bell with a 5:33. You've gotten
if
good
there's
at that.
one if there's one thing that I ever have a skill of, it's too much knowledge of people's playtimes and paces. But regardless, a 5-minute flat is not
Oh, a
surprising in
desktop.
terms of the end time. All right, we just need Mike to submit your gauntlet time, please. All right. So the last of Belle's picks, and potentially the last race of this match, is going to be the ever lovely Baru Coast. And this is the fun part. We have Ben Band, Mahonic Band, Mars Band, Elon Band, and Bullseye Band for this one.
Dear God, 6 pod bands?
Uh-huh. Belle used both force points on this pick.
It's a decision.
It's it is one of the picks of all time. Now, realistically, you don't have very many good options left. I think if you're a player,
and I'm not sure
Belle's
Aldar's one of them.
it's tough to say where the line is, honestly. Realistically, you. Oh, Mike's asking any special conditions. I think he's asking Belle that. Realistically, somebody like Bowles and Aldar is probably the fastest pick remaining. However, I do believe Belle wanted this to be specifically an Aldar mirror, and I think Mike agreed to it. So we're gonna get Aldar regardless of what picks might be viable.
Oh, boy. Aldar
Yeah,
Vito.
Aldar is rough here. I'm gonna check SRC real quick. I do believe that we've had some people do Aldar. I'm pretty sure Cobalt did Aldar on Brukos, and maybe Homer also submitted that. So let's see, what's the best Aldar time?
Cobalt. That's a name I've not heard in a long time.
Alright, filters. Can I filter that? Nope. The best Aldar time I'm seeing on here is in fact from Cobalt of a 3:59.396. So that means you probably could get like a 3:57 ultimately if you played it a lot, but it's a rough pick no matter what way you slice it. All right, we do have a countdown incoming. I'm going to go ahead and jump these syncs forward because I have absolutely no idea what's happening anymore. And we'll just deal with the consequences. That will reduce the amount of time that we have to wait for this countdown as well, which, I mean, that's not a bad thing.
Always like to see that.
Looks like Mike's going to go ahead and do a little bit of warm-up, so we'll see when the restart will happen for him, but it is what it is. He is not playing in Farcam?
I mean, do you need Farcam for Aldar?
It's Mike. He always plays in Farcam.
This is true. Mike does always play in Farcam. I forgot about that detail for a bit. I've been out of the game for a while. For those out of the loop here, my entire life has changed.
Yeah?
Haven't really had the time to sit down with Racer for a bit.
I'm personally still dealing with a controller switch that I made, and it's throwing me off a little bit.
Mm.
All right, I do believe that was Mike's real restart. So somehow we're waiting for Belle without a sync difference. That's interesting. Unless that was Belle's actual restart, then I just didn't realize it. That's probably what actually happened. Okay.
Yeah,
We're gonna sync Belle backwards because I apparently can't pay attention.
yeah, it's about
My
a
apologies.
10-second sync, 15-second sync.
Well, with Mike's frame rate, it's very difficult to tell. But
Yeah,
it
it's
should be close enough.
oh, Mike died.
The Eldar curse, the terrible turn rate gets him.
You never
Well,
see Mike crash.
that wall has absolutely no favorites in any sense of the word. It does not play nice with anybody. And if you come at it and you hit it slightly wrong angle, it doesn't matter who you are dead. But as we can see, Mike has already made up the difference and is passing Belle after dying.
The wall decides who will stay and who will go.
We're going to need to see a lot more chaos out of Mike in order for Belle to win this race. But a minute 26 with a death is not that bad. I don't know if Belle died early in the race or not, but a minute 29 coming out from Belle.
I don't think Belle did die. I think Belle did that lap clean, which is... that just shows the difference between these two runners.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Burricos is, as far as I understand, it's his favorite track. So he's put a lot of time into the track.
And Belle picked it against him. Okay, that's... Again,
Belle did say
it's
before
a
the
decision.
Match started, Belle did say before the match started, here for a fun time, not a long time, so...
That's fair.
I understand it. I mean, Belle's very conscientious of the skill gap between themselves and Mike. I mean, like
kind
I
of
said,
hard
there's
not to acknowledge the skill
players. Not many players can beat Mike.
Says the one player who's beaten Mike.
I think the only people who've ever beaten Mike in a tournament match are what? Ace.
Probably you and
King
Ace.
Dip, myself, and Homura?
Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds like people who could do it. Oh, there goes Belle.
I think Goof can, I just don't think Goof has.
Goof probably can if Goof played tournament again.
He's in tournament.
He's in tournament this year.
He played earlier today.
Oh, you're right, he did, and I missed the match because I was busy. Had things to do.
Yes. I did commentary on that match as well. I am just giving myself a whole fun, well, my weekend is Sunday, Monday, but a whole fun weekend for myself here. I'm doing commentary on 3 matches in a 2-day span, as well as doing a match myself.
Well, congratulations, man.
That's a lot. And I was not mentally prepared for having to wake up early both days, but here we are. That's it. Belle took another death there, but we are... It's hard to say that there's much tension left in this race. Mike is a absolutely monstrous amount ahead at this point. He has not taken any other deaths.
On the one hand,
he's going to be finishing this run with a time that a lot of people would be happy with to get with any normal pod.
I mean,
let alone
on the one hand, I hate watching stomps, and part of what I was trying to champion with the rule set changes that I was suggesting was to make stomps less common. We wanted better pod variety and a limited track pool so that we could make stomps a little less common by giving people, less stuff that they have to practice so they're not preparing an entire 27 race roster on the off chance that their opponent picks something that's not Mangaza Speedway.
I will say that I think it could help in some ways, but I think ultimately there's some things about stomps that are unavoidable. But all right, we have finished it out here. And that's
That's
going to
game.
be a Mikeyburger 4-0 victory. We'll see if we can get them in here for interviews. Well, hello, Blue, if it isn't my opponent for tomorrow. Showing up in chat.
I tried to tell one of my coworkers about tournament, but I used the Botto match times, so they're probably going to be late to every single match.
Hello, Belle and Mikey. GG on the match.
GG, well played, yeah. Or at least I'm assuming Mikey played well.
Yeah, it was okay. Yeah, I think.
Well, Mike had a below average performance in terms of how often he died this time, but that's neither here nor there.
So I'm guessing
Mike, what
once in a
happened?
match?
He died twice, and his death rate is normally like 1 out of every 5 races. So to die twice in 4 races.
I
You
hit
know what?
the
I'll take
ceiling.
that as an accomplishment.
Yeah, that Holler Gorge death is always fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised that you chose to play that track at 24 FPS, if I'm being honest with you.
Which track? Oh, you're talking about my mic.
I assume because I think I used 24. So what?
Yeah. That's what I was just surprised by that.
All right. What would you use here?
I'm a 27,600 merchant on Howler and Adobe mount.
I mean,
The FPS has gotten a lot more granular over the years. 27 specifically. Not 30, not 24. 27 exactly. No more, no less.
Okay, but
27.
But Dominore, don't you play with like damage parts anyway to make it even more granular?
I used to do that sometimes. I haven't in a while because just kind of didn't make enough of a difference that I cared. Because so many tracks, you can just kind of play with it with whatever you want. The reason I do 27,600 on Howler and Adobe Mount Run is because I would do 24 FPS, except now I cut boost early on the jump in order to hit the downhill early and get that speed. And I don't like 30 FPS. It's too difficult on the hairpins. So 27 is like the middle ground.
That makes sense to me.
But it also does make the bridge easier, to be fair. Just a tiny bit. And I also have a tilt manip set up. Like when you get like halfway up the upward part of the bridge, because it goes down then up. When you get like halfway up the upward part is when I release tilt and I start turning left near the top, and it tends to keep me on a low exit every time. But that's just fun stuff. But anyways, still a good match. I really enjoyed watching, especially Aldar and Varuk Ghost. I mean, come on.
That was a highlight. That was a highlight of the match.
I was thinking for the match. Sorry, go on, Belle. I'll let you go first.
My thought process was, I am out of track picks. Mike eliminated 2 of my tracks during selection by picking them himself. Screw it. Let's go something where nobody knows what they're doing.
That does bring up a very intriguing strategical thing that we did not get into, which is since you're picking ahead of the match, if you want to prevent somebody from having a deep pool of tracks, you can use kind of like your mid to late picks to intentionally take away some of them if you don't think you're going to lose that many races. So like if you lost like one race, maybe your first pick is when you actually want to do, then you can kind of prevent the other person from picking after that point if you don't think you're going to get to those anyway. And use setups you would actually want to use. It's kind of nasty.
Mm-hmm.
But I do believe there is also in the rules you can have one side be full track and one side be skips, so it kind of doesn't completely work, but
I should have put in AQC skips.
Yes. I guess technically it would have worked, huh?
For those keeping track at home,
have a skip to use, but
Exactly. For those keeping track at home, there is no AQC skip.
There is a incredibly minor task only skip, and then there's ones that lose time.
And there's ones that lose time.
You're faster than the task, Dom, so why don't you do it?
You're funny. The trick you have to use to get the AQC skip is unbelievably precise. It took me how long? It took me, I think, a couple hours to get the jump to happen in a task situation. Like to find a setup at the start of the lap that actually worked.
Let's see, it's frame specific, angle specific, hover height specific.
Pretty much, yeah. It's awful because you have
Probably
to
not totally viable then.
What?
No, I wouldn't call it tourney viable. No.
What do you mean? It's tourney viable. I think it's RTA viable too, honestly. Oh goodness. Well, did you guys have any thoughts on the match that you wanted to get out into the world?
You know what? I lost, but I still had fun.
Good.
That's the important part. That you lost. No.
Wow. Wow.
It was too easy. It was right there.
Get this joker out of here. Man.
Oh,
goodness.
I enjoyed Brew Coast on with Beto because that was something I was going to suggest that I did with Belle before the match. So I'm kind of glad that happened because Beto's a fun pod as well.
I love Beto. Beto's my favorite.
Even though he's not like the most fun to actually play, he's pretty cool.
He may not be the fastest, but look at this sassy mug. How can you not love this man?
Every time I see Aldar, I just think of the wonderful man Celascalar himself. Can't wait for him to hopefully come back to a tournament in the future. He has expressed interest, but not this year, so we'll get there someday. We'll get there. All right. Well, thank you guys for that fun match today. Definitely gave us a little bit of entertainment value in the commentary booth. And also, thank you, Digital, for hopping on comms today.
Oh yeah, my pleasure. I'm sorry I was a little late. Like I said, I had to get gas, and then there was a train on a train crossing, which is... I don't know if anybody's really paid attention, but how often do you see that?
Well, given that there's a train that goes through my hometown, I see it way too often.
That's
I
fair.
live half a mile from a train station. I can see it from the window right now.
Well, it would appear that we've unintentionally dismantled what Digital has said. I apologize, Digital. You don't see it often.
I guess I've just lived a very privileged life where I've never gone across a railroad track at the same time as a train. My mistake.
Oh. And then also a couple more big thank yous to SpeedGaming, letting us have this tournament on here every year since 2019. Still going strong, still doing all the fun things. So thank you guys for that. And once again, it's tournament staffers and especially Lightning Pirate for this incredible setup that we have on the back end and the beautiful mall-inspired layout that we have for this year's tournament.
Yeah, LP did a great job on that this year, and on everything this year, really.
Absolutely glorious. So if you like watching the tournament at all, keep him in mind. It's really all thanks to him. So thank you guys. And we do have 2 matches tomorrow. Hope you can catch them. Like I said, I'll be doing commentary on the early morning one. And that one is going to be Ram of Pluto versus... Oh, shoot. Who is it? I got it written down. It is... No, I don't have it written down. I lied. No! I don't know who's Ram playing against because Bato doesn't want to tell me. That's rude. Well, Ram's playing against one of the newer people.
The Force Ghost of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I apologize to whoever that is. Is it Homura? Is it really? Why is it not display Homer? Okay, anyways. Ram versus
So, yeah,
Homer,
the Force
and then it'll be
Ghost of
myself
Obi-Wan
versus
Kenobi.
Blue Apostrophe for the second match later in the day. But yeah, got that to look forward to. Hope we see you then. And again, may the Force be with you.
Keep your goggles on and your engines tuned, everybody.
Night all.
Thanks, everyone. See you later.